Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So within today's video, we are going to be talking about the match between Barcelona and Girona. Barcelona were able to win against Girona 1-0 with a goal coming from, yet again, Pedri. And so this was a very complicated match, right? A very rusty one. It was one of those games where we're like, okay, Barcelona's probably not going to be playing well, going to be like a rusty game. Most likely we'll score a goal that comes from Marcos Alonso using his calf or something and win by like one goal. It was going to be that type of ugly game. We understood that. The exact same type of game that we did against Osasuna, right? A very ugly one. It was not the most beautiful one. Even Xavi Hernandez did say, this sport is not a theater piece like what we do. We're not always looking to play in the most beautiful way possible. Like, yes, we try to do that, but if it does not end up happening, that's okay, because at the end of the day, this is not, again, a theater piece. It's a competition, which makes a lot of sense. And even if that was the whole idea, right? Even if Xavi Hernandez does aim to play the most beautiful football like in every game, that's going to be taking time. Maybe we may not see that this season, but maybe next season or the following one, then we'll be in a position where we can say, okay, even if we play ugly games, it'll still be a very entertaining one because we will have the ball, we will generate beautiful chances, we'll play our tiki-taka and all of those things. So things like that, again, they do take time. But as of now, the fact that Barcelona are still able to come out with 3 points while playing an ugly game and things were just not in our favor, this is what's going to give us the green light towards winning La Liga, is to win matches like this. If you win matches like this, you'll definitely have a strong chance on winning the whole thing. Now, I do want to get one thing out of the way, which will be Dembele, because many have been asking, hey Kevin, what's going on with Dembele? Will Dembele be okay? And many sources have been saying that Dembele does not look so good. Like, many have been saying that Barcelona feel pessimistic about how his injury is going to be, whether he's going to be out for about 4 weeks or maybe even 4 days or 4 hours, who knows. But right now they're pessimistic because they do not know what type of injury this is and how long it could take, right? If they can't find an answer right there and then most likely he will be out for a good amount of games. And here's the thing that does get me very nervous, right? Let's assume that, you know, the doctors say he'll be out for about 2 or 3 games at the best case scenario, right? That is what we do want, is for Dembele to be out for about 2 or 3 games and nothing more. If he does get injured, of course, we don't want him to be out for like 4 months, 5 months, like what we saw before. But even if that was the case, if Dembele were to really get out for about 2 or 3 games, our next 2 or 3 games are going to be so extremely complicated. We have Betis, we have Sevilla, we have Villarreal, and we also potentially have Manchester United if his injury does end up being extended, and we need Dembele in these games. Now, if you guys want to like say that Dembele is a injury prone and that he should be living in the hospital, please do not say that. This is not the moment to really like tear down Dembele, because he has been doing amazing in the past year, right? Dembele has been one of the healthiest players in FC Barcelona. So right now we have to support this player, we have to back this player because we need him. Have you guys not seen how monumental he was for this club for the past 6 to 7 games? So immediately when I saw this news about Barcelona being pessimistic about his injury, I was like, okay, this means one thing. We have to count on our other wingers. We have players like Ferran Torres and Rafinha, 2 players that we don't have a lot of confidence on as of now. Like with Rafinha, he had a stinker in this game against Girona. Rafinha did not play well at all. If anything, he was being very annoying because he could not even control the ball to save his life, could not even take the right decision to like save his life. Same thing with Ferran Torres. Ferran Torres, like, even what Xavi has been doing on the pitch tells you that right now he just doesn't have faith on Ferran at all. Like, the fact that you put Alejandro Balde as a left winger and not Ferran Torres is showing us the status of what Xavi Hernandez does think of Ferran, is that he's simply not ready. He's mentally not there, he's physically not there, and now that we're seeing Dembele injured, probably the most important player for this club, we demand for these 2 players to step it up at whatever cost. We need Ferran Torres. We need the best version of Rafinha. We want Rafinha to score long shot goals from outside the box. We want Ferran Torres to be making those runs into open spaces, receiving the ball and scoring the goal. We need that type of version of Ferran because we know that and Rafinha, because we know that these 2 players, they can do that. And so moving forward, when we go into the next game against Real Betis, looking at how Lewandowski has finally finished his 3-match ban and Lewandowski will no longer like be unavailable, our front 3 should mainly be, and I know this is going to be very surprising, right? I know that you're going to be questioning like, what is Kevin thinking? But our front 3 should be Ansu Fati on the left, Lewandowski as the striker, and Ferran Torres as the right winger. I do not want to see Rafinha right now, mainly because we have given this player chances and he needs to be, in a way, not punished, but just I want him to be very well aware that right now what he's doing is not good enough and he has to be benched, right? So I would say yes, punish, but I don't want to put it like that harsh on this player. And I want to see Ferran Torres because we have not seen Ferran Torres, and every time I see Ferran Torres on the right wing, he usually does well. And so I want to start with that front 3 once we do start this, you know, complicated run of these next 3 to 4 games. Our first game will be against Real Betis, which will be on Wednesday, and then after that we'll play against I believe Sevilla. I don't have the schedule right in front of me right now, but most likely we will be playing Sevilla after Real Betis. Yeah, Sevilla, and then after that Villarreal, and then after that Manchester Manchester United. So you see how like these next 4 games are very important to us, right? It's gonna dictate whether we're gonna be in second place in La Liga or in first place, or whether we're going to be knocked out in the Europa League or still in the Europa League. We want to win every competition, which is why I do say our front three should be Ansu, Lewandowski, and Ferran Torres. These 2 wingers, Ferran and Ansu Fati, understand what it's like to like open spaces for the other players. They know how to make crosses into the box, and Lewandowski needs great service. He needs great service. And right now, players like Rafinha cannot do that. He just can't. And I know that it's starting to seem like I'm starting to hate on Rafinha, but I'm not trying to do that. Like, that's not my agenda. I just want to like speak the reality of this player. He's simply just, he's not good enough right now. And I think that if he were to just be aware that there's going to be players like Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati that are going to be picked over him, and even Alejandro Balde at some point, if Xavi does decide to place Balde on the left wing again, if he understands that these 3 players are better than him right now, he's going to react, because we know Rafinha, we know his mentality. He's going to react if he knows that he is third or fourth option in the attacking options. So another player I do want to speak about is Pedri. Pedri did make his 100th appearance for Barcelona, which is crazy, right? 100 appearances at just 19 years old. He joined Barcelona back in 2020. For him to make 100 appearances, that's a lot, right? That's already a lot of experience under his belt. And on his 100th appearance, which was again against Girona, the game that we saw a couple of hours ago, he did score a goal, right? And it was an amazing goal, a goal that we have seen before, with him always arriving in the box at the right time. I think that again, that is one of the things that Xavi Hernandez wants to do with Pedri, is that he wants Pedri to know exactly when to make those runs, and that he knows, he wants him to believe that he can score more goals. He can score about 10 to 12 to 15 goals per season. And Pedri is on the way on doing that, surprisingly, right? The fact that Pedri is able to be such a great creator, such a great organizer, and at the same time scoring clinical, important goals for Barcelona, it's only going to uplift Pedri motivation-wise, and also, you know, just overall in terms of his level. As a matter of fact, I do think that Pedri was the man of the match for this game, because he was, again, the organizer, he was the orchestrator, he was the one that was able to recover the ball, and again, scoring that goal for Barcelona and giving Barcelona the 3 points. Now, I do want to go to one last critique, because one thing that I just did not like when it came to Barcelona's attack was Ansu Fati and Rafinha rushing the attack. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there were so many bad passes that were like very fast, too fast, right? Coming from Rafinha, that led towards one of the players not being able to control the ball right, or they were just too slow to get there because the pass was simply just too fast. Like, we have to understand when to make slow passes. We have to understand when to make fast passes. If we're making slow passes at the back and we're being pressured, you're in the wrong position. If you're making fast passes at the back and there's no pressure, and you misplace that pass for whatever reason, and one of the defenders takes a bad touch, then you're on the wrong, you know, situation, right? You're supposed to be knowing when to make the type of speed on the ball, right? You need to know what, like, should this pass be slow? Should this pass be fast? Like, this is basic football. Like, what I'm saying here, this is the thing that kind of pisses me off, is because when I saw Rafinha make a very hard pass into the box that led towards Ansu Fati losing the ball because he couldn't control it, it could have been an easy chance for Barcelona to score a goal and make it 1-0 before the 30th minute. When I saw that, I'm like, what are you thinking? Why are you rushing? You know Ansu Fati is about like 6 to 7 feet away from you, so why make a hard, fast pass? Just relax. I understand that there's players around you, there's midfielders, defenders, but relax. You'll be okay. So I hope Xavi does fix that, because Xavi was like the master at that. There was never a pass that seemed too fast or seemed too slow when Xavi was playing for Barcelona back in the day. So I want him to teach Rafinha, Ansu Fati, and all of these other attackers how to do exactly that. Pedri is amazing at that, because, you know, he's just simply talented. So again, props to Pedri. And the last thing that I do want to speak about this match is that for some reason I was thinking that Xavi Hernandez has turned into Diego Simeone in the last 10 minutes, because the fact that he took out Rafinha and put in Kessie at that time on the 83rd minute or on the 85th minute, we saw a Barcelona team that only had defenders and midfielders. There was no attackers. I'm like, are we defending our lead? Are we giving up on going for the 2-0? Like, what is going on here? Like, our front two was Kessie and Pedri, right? Our front two was Kessie and Pedri, and our back four was, I think at that time, was Koundé, Araujo, Christensen with Jordi Alba or something like that. And then our midfield was Alejandro Balde on the wing back position with Gavi and Busquets, and then on the right wing was like, I don't even know, but it was a strange like 11 to have on the 83rd minute, to have our front two being Kessie and Pedri and having no attackers. We could have used Ferran, right? And this goes back to what I did say before. The status of Xavi Hernandez with Ferran is not so good at all. Like, we ended with defenders and midfielders and nothing else. We did not have Ansu, we did not have Lewandowski, obviously we did not have Rafinha, we did not have Ferran Torres, Dembele was injured. I'm like, what is going on here? So I was like, are we really defending our lead? Are we just gonna give up like that? Because Girona had a couple of chances in the last 10 to 15 15 minutes. And I'm like, are we really going to just learn how to suffer in these next 10 minutes? What's going on here? Especially when you know that Girona had a player named Arnau Martinez, a player that Barcelona is eyeing, who is a right back for Girona. He was one of the players that was being used a lot to attack the final third, and he was playing amazing. He was able to cope with the pressure. He was able to run with the ball in the middle of the pitch, going through many Barcelona players. And I'm like, wow, this is a right back that I think can inspire this club. I would like to see Joan Laporta pay the release clause, which would be around 20 million euros for this player. I would do that. Arnau Martinez did react. Arnau Martinez knew what was going on. He knew that Barcelona was interested, that he needed to perform to showcase that he should go to Barcelona and potentially be that right back next season. And so he did amazing. He was the player that was the one that won the most ground duels on the pitch. You know, if you were to combine all the stats of Barcelona and Girona, he was the player that won the most duels. He was the one with a total of like 9 or 10. So that's very surprising because I have not seen a right back from Barcelona gain that type of stat. So that will be wrapped up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.